Over the past weekend, Vienna called and we picked up the phone. Sweden also decided to do a little bit more within their heats and made some decisions. A lot to talk about that went down this past weekend in the world of Eurovision. Welcome back to the Eurovision Kiki podcast. I'm Steven.
I'm Doug.
And if you are new to our content, we welcome you to our journey. We're just a couple of guys from the other side of the pond who enjoy all things Eurovision. If you're new here, you can catch us here on YouTube. You can catch us on Spotify. We've got content out on Instagram and on TikTok at Eurovision Kiki. But for now, we're going to jump right into this week's episode, and we're going to be talking mostly about the winner from this week's contest at Austria, which was Vienna calling, and that is also host country this year. We're also going to talk a little bit about Sweden's Melodifestivalen and their Heat 4 semifinals, which it qualified two more performers into the next round of grand finals, as well as advancing one other person into the last chance round. So, Doug, where do we want to begin?
Oh my goodness. Well, the good news is it was a quieter weekend. There was not as much going on. And I saw somebody who made a statement that was like, oh, maybe it's because of the Olympics and they're finishing up. And I was like, maybe the Olympics had something to do with it. But either way, it was kind of nice to get a little bit of a reprieve, because we know that on the 28th, it's going to be mayhem with tons of finals. So
yes,
I'm glad we were able to just really focus on a couple of things. And then, of course, we had Vienna calling. Worst thing for Österreich, I have no idea if I pronounced that right, but that's what they called it, which translates to we sing for Austria, which really got me thinking just real quick that, like, why is it that companies have better branding than countries do?
I mean, that's $1 million question right there.
Nike is Nike no matter where you go. Versace, whatever, it's gonna be that in every single country. Whereas, like, in English we're saying Austria, in German they're like that's not how you pronounce our country.
No. They're like,
so
nay.
So it's just interesting that branding is different for each country based on the translation, but companies or band names or whoever, it's just going to be that name.
It really is.
I digress. So the format for the song contest was that you have 12 entries and they were all going to perform, but it was giving more of like American Idol performance where, yes, the public is still going to vote, but we've got some experts here who are going to give feedback.
Yeah. Shout out to nabbing JJ as one of those experts who, if you are not as familiar in Eurovision Song Contest world, JJ's kind of the reason why Austria is host country this year, because spoiler alert, JJ won Eurovision last year.
Spoilers. Yes. And he was also sort of a last minute replacement, as I understood, based on the English commentary, where both of the men who were going to be giving their feedback got delayed, and so JJ and this other guy stepped in.
Yes, and Lucas from Switzerland, who was a past Eurovision Song Contest representative for Switzerland, was one of those guest judges that was supposed to be there. And they had a video clip of him actually stranded at one of the airports. I think he was in Zurich, and he's just like, "Hi, I'm in Zurich, and I'm not getting there.
Sorry, I'm not going to make it." Vienna calling, he did not pick up.
He tried, though. Tried very hard.
So you had the judge, the panel of, I call them like panel of experts, because they weren't the actual judges. They were not the jury that was going to be awarding points. They were simply there to give their feedback. And like I said, it felt very American Idol. It was actually the format for how Ireland did it when I watched their national final last year. And so the judges, or this panel, can have some sway and have some influence, because if they're saying, oh, I can't see this on the Eurovision stage, well, did they just tank my chances? Or are we...
I mean, their commentary can definitely sway people's thoughts on how they should vote. Similarly, it could also sway how juries sent their points to some of these performers as well. And with JJ being one of those folks adding commentary, I noticed via the Eurovision English commentator that there was translation where JJ had past knowledge of some of these folks or has been in connection
Mm-hmm.
with some of these past performers. So there has been some connection there before. So a lot of his feelings and a lot of his commentation was toward like, I've seen your growth, I've seen where you've been before, and like where you are right now is amazing. You know, I'm here for you, I'm here for it, your song's beautiful, this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, that could potentially sway people's thoughts because
Right.
if JJ's here for it, that could boost
It's kind of like,
their rating, you
yeah.
know?
I mean, it kind of gives it like a seal of approval. Like, oh, if JJ's on board with it and I love JJ, then I need to listen to him and I need to follow
Yep.
that. So
Yep.
it was an interesting format. I love it or hate it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Did you have any thoughts about how they were doing that?
I enjoyed it. As always, I find national song contests fascinating because they definitely know how to make it a orchestrated event, even when you only have, you know, a dozen or so songs that you are choosing from. So 3 hours, and it honestly did go by relatively quickly, given that it was that long of a song contest for them. But I do think that they had a large handful of great songs to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I have to say, like, the overall outcome is one that I was pretty pleased with. And I know we're going to talk about that here momentarily, but um,
Yeah.
I'm happy with the overall outcome of the evening for Vienna Calling.
Oh, I mean, overall, I'm happy with it. I had selected a top three. Two out of my top three were in the top four.
Yeah.
So I felt like I did pretty good.
Yeah.
now, now, not everybody agrees. No one will ever agree on the outcome of a song contest. That's the whole point. We all have different tastes, but I was pleased with the outcome.
I know that one of your top three was Reverend Stomp. And
Oh, pour one out for them.
pour one out for them because the jury and the public were not really feeling
Mm,
their vibe. And honestly, neither
That's
were
okay.
the like guest judges or commentators. They were just kind of like, yeah, it's good, but do I see this as like star quality for Austria when this is our host year? I don't know, but it's not to say that your group and your type of music is bad. It's just not what I would say really represents us well, you know, as
Which,
host
I mean,
city or as host country for the 70th year. And I was like, okay,
they're they're
those are
very
words.
politely trying to say no, thank you.
Yeah.
Next, and I
And
mean
I
that's
was
kind of
just
what
like,
we do here at the Kiki, where like it's not for us.
yeah,
Doesn't make you bad people. Doesn't make it a bad song.
no.
And so I kind of appreciated that they were trying to like pour
Find a
some
common ground where
from
it's like, yeah,
right. There's some nice things in there.
yeah,
Um, I will say for me, Reverend Stomp, they had described their sound as more like a swamp meets surf type of vibe, and I enjoy that. Like it was definitely a very much throwback. So, did I think that it was going to win? No. Do I still jam to it and groove with it? Absolutely.
and I think even at one point, one of the commentators or guest commentators had even sort of compared them to, I could also be completely confusing them for one of the other performers to like that of Monoskin, where it's like people may not necessarily get it, but they could be one of those groups that actually does do well. However, they just did not see them really being that group for this year's Eurovision Song Contest. And I was like, okay, I mean, at least you all are trying to find that nice, happy spot where you're like, we see the talent, we just don't necessarily see you being that representative for this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I understand how they ended up placing where they did. They did get 3 points from the jury, so the good news is they weren't in last place.
No, they were not. They definitely were not.
Uh, I do think that there were some songs that moved up my ranking as I watched the live performance. And the first and foremost that I do want to mention is Philip Pillar and Das Leben ist Kunst, or Life is Art. I really enjoyed that performance.
Can I just take a second to say, like, your German is amazing right there. Great job. No notes.
No notes. Oh goodness, I'm sure it was terrible.
No, well, coming from me, I'm like, you did better than I could, so I'm proud of you.
Yeah, no, but his song, just like in general, it was fun. The staging showed me that everything is art. If you look around, life is art.
Life is art. I loved his backstory. I loved that he shared that part of his staging was actually, like, built by like members of his family, like his dad and his siblings and stuff like that. I thought that was so awesome. Like
Very
his family,
grassroots effort, right?
very much like his family was very much invested and behind him all the way throughout his journey. So I just thought that was very endearing and just added touch of like, how can you not like just have a little bit of like compassion and like love for his overall performance, because it's almost like part of his family was on stage with him just because of that. So, Philip, a little bit of love for you there.
I'll be honest. I was actually very surprised that he ended up in 11th place. As I said, for me, the performance elevated where I originally had him in my rankings, and so to see him actually go further down than what I would have thought was surprising.
Yeah, for sure. One that stood out for me, which was one that sort of coasted in the middle, but then as a live performance, which then totally made sense why it did so well, was Baumlack Werner's We Are Not Just One Thing. At first listen, I was like, yeah, this is a good song. It's one that will definitely just kind of like stay on the playlist. I don't necessarily see it like going anywhere, but just her overall charisma and performance on stage, she has this radiance and this shine that I was like, that's something that you can't teach. Like, it's just innate talent that you're born with. And I'm hopeful that this is not the last time we see her try to, represent Austria as part of like the Eurovision Song Contest community. So like the other part that I enjoyed about her was, which we can like talk about a little bit later, was just like post reaction to finding out that she had in the top 3, because I think it was a combination of like, I was not expecting this, to then like the like follow up to that with like memes galore of like when you were just woken up from a nap to go do something, or something to me where it's like, I have done all of my like errands and chores and things on my to-do list for the day, and I'm relaxing, and now I've just been bothered to like get off the couch and like do more stuff that I wasn't prepared to do, and I have a little bit of an annoyance on my face. So like, I loved it.
And I think that the public really resonated with this song. So let's just talk about like, she ended up being in the top 3, and we'll talk about how we got there. But the look on her face of surprise and shock, and like, I didn't do very well with the jury. Suddenly you're calling me into the top 3. I do feel that surprise was genuine. Did she know in that moment, like, I might be in the top 3, but I don't think I won? Maybe she did. Maybe she had already done the math. But that genuine shock. But I do think the song resonated with the public, and it was in English and it was in German, so it gave us a little bit of both. So I think the audience thought this could do well on the Eurovision stage. And as I mentioned, resonating with the song, she talks about being in kind of 2 different worlds. She says, too black for many, too white for the rest. Our path decided, but what they think is best. Like, It was very well done.
No notes, honestly. Great performance, great vocals, talented individual, and I hope that we continue to see more from her as the years progress.
Yeah. And I think that there were several songs that I felt were sort of in a similar category as far as like this has an English component to it, at least at the very minimum an English component, female up there giving us a strong vocal. You had Anna Sophie with Superhuman, Kayla Kristen with Ibrin, Lena Shower with Painted Reality, Band Like Werner. So like there were a lot that were all sort of vying for a very similar fan base, I felt.
Absolutely. So,
Um, I do want to give a shout out to Ibrin. For me, that was one of my favorites of the evening. I thought her vocal was fantastic. She gave us a little bit of Conchita Wurst, Rise Like a Phoenix, with the dress style. I hope that it was an homage to it with Rise Like a Phoenix, right? Like,
I definitely can see some similarities there, and I think that there was a lot of inspiration drawn from it, and don't I can't fault it. I think it was beautifully done. And her song is also equally as gifted and beautiful. So love it.
I am not usually one for kind of a strong ballad or like power ballad type song, but for me that was fantastic and I loved it. And she ended up in fourth place. I mean, technically she tied with Bamela Werner, but tie goes to the public vote. um, so it was overall Kayla Kristen, beautiful song. I hope we see her in the future because I think she's got a great voice.
Yes, absolutely. Any other songs that like really grabbed you before we talk about this year's winner?
Yeah. Um, I do want to give a shout out to Freud and Riddle. Um, I don't think I say this pretty much ever, but I actually prefer their live performance over the audio.
Oh, interesting. Say more.
There is a section of the song where he's saying, "I can hear you through the night. It's going to be all right," and he says it multiple times. And at one point in the audio, after the fourth time, he does this like really like kind of scream emo esque thing, and that I did not enjoy. When they did their live performance, that was not there. So they had either adjusted the arrangement or made a slight tweak to it or whatever. And in doing that, you took out the only part of the song that I really didn't like. And so then I said, yeah, no, I could easily see this on the Eurovision stage now. Could this be our first rock song of the year?
Potentially. I don't This one was not necessarily one I grasped onto. I think it was a little too far fetched for me. But again, there's always going to be those songs as like a Eurovision Song Contest fan that you're not always going to connect with. And for this one, I know that it was sort of one that folks thought early on was going to excel well in, and so
Yeah.
chalk it up to us on this side of the pond not necessarily knowing European music, and so I'm just gonna like chalk it up to that on my end. I don't know European music, folks.
Right. Well, I mean, you had the Eurovision bubble audience, the folks who are pretty much following every single contest, who are paying attention, doing the polls. According to the Eurovision World poll, Riddle was supposed to, or was the fan favorite at that point with 28%. So that's why when I was listening to it and watching that live performance after they had made that adjustment to their song, that's when I was like, you know what? If this is the winner, I can get behind it.
Yeah.
But as you noted, uh, it didn't turn out like that. And would I call it a surprise flop? I don't think I would call it that. But it ended up right in the middle.
Yeah.
So
So
interestingly.
yeah.
So then, all right. So let's talk about how we ended up getting where we got with our results. The way they had it set up was that the international jury gave their points, but they didn't tell us who the international jury was and how they voted. But what
which
they
was
ended up doing was compile. What was that?
I said it was that, which is kind of interesting, but it is
I'm
what it
hoping
is.
that it's I'm hoping that at some point we find out who those jurors were. It would just be interesting to find out like who did Austria pick to be these jurors. But they compiled all of the results from all of the jurors, and then based on those results, they broke it down and awarded the traditional 1 through 8, 10, and 12.
Yeah.
And the way that they awarded those, they started with 1 point and moved their way up. But
Yeah.
by the time they got to the final three people, wasn't it, I felt super awkward for them because they show us three people, and one of these people has the jury favorite. You're going to get 12 points. And the other two, you get nothing.
Goose eggs. And it's like, that is so awkward.
So awkward. You're either
Yeah.
going to be the best and favorite, or we're going to keep your face on screen for a few seconds so that everybody sees the disappointment when you find out you got 0 points from the jury.
It's almost like you kind of know at that point too. It's like, well, my night's over.
Right. If you score 0 from the jury, there's no coming back from that.
There's
like mathematically,
no,
right?
yeah. I mean, even as you receive points on the lower end, which is why I think going back to what we said earlier with Bum Like Werner's 4 points from the jury, I don't think she necessarily thought she had a chance at making it to the top 3.
Right.
And so for her, she was just kind of like, let's just get the night over with at that point. Now, I don't want to put words in her mouth. I don't want to, necessarily say that was exactly what she was thinking. But if I were in that position, I'd be like, yeah, I'm just gonna, where's the champagne? I'm just gonna sit this out. Just gonna sit here the rest of the evening. Like,
yeah. So after giving us these jury points, then we were moving on to the combined total. So like they didn't actually tell us in that moment how the public voted. All they were going to do is say, these are the top 3 artists after we incorporate the public vote, but you don't know what that total looks like.
And then they also said, in no particular order.
We're going to put that in quotes. In no particular order.
Yeah, because I want people to let's put a pin in that.
So in no particular order, they told us that the top 3 were Cosmo, Lena Shower, and Bam Like Werner. But in no particular order.
In third place.
In third place is the third person we called out.
In second place is the second person that they called out.
And then in first place was the first person we called out.
And lo and behold, the winner of Vienna Calling 2026 is our boy Cosmo with his song Tannstein. Tannstein, which for those of us who don't speak German and our English listeners, roughly translates to license to dance. In summary, I fucks with it. I love this song so much.
It's so much fun.
So much fun. Every year, there seems to be like a song or two where there's just light choreography that is fun, playful, catchy, that can attract the general audience and people watching, where it's like, you at home, like, learn the dance, let's jam out to this, let's play along when it comes on and do this. In 2022, it was Subwoofer with Give That Wolf a Banana, and could have also been in Corporasana as well. In 2023, it was Taya and Selena with Who the Hell is Edgar Allan Poe, as well as Karya with Cha Cha Cha. In 2024, you had Baby Lasagna with Rim Tim Tagadim, and we were all there in the arena doing this.
Absolutely.
We were all in the arena doing this. Last year we were all in the sauna with Kai doing some bada bada batsu. This year, I think we're all going to be with Cosmo doing some Tanstein. So get ready,
You
everybody.
can the vibe or the category is That's So Eurovision.
Yes.
And he fits right into that. I've well, the during the performance, the panelists had said it felt a little bit Tommy Cash espresso macchiato. Now, I don't feel the song vibe as far as like what it's trying to convey, but I
Yeah.
get the category of that so Eurovision from it. I get that
Absolutely.
comparison.
Yeah.
Um, but I think we're going to end up with some dueling That's So Eurovision this year because we already have Achilles and Ferto, and now you have Cosmo and Tanshine. And will they elevate one another, or will one kind of pull away? And I say
Yeah.
this with a comparison in mind because in 2024, or was it 2023, 2024, we had Baby Lasagna
Yep.
and Windows 95 Man.
Yeah.
And so Baby Lasagna was way up there. But then
Our
Windows
runner up.
95 Man, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
But then last year we had Kai and Tommy Cash, who were both neck and neck in the final standings. So
Yep.
which are we going to see? Are we going to see Cosmo be right up there? And I'm already worried because there seems to be a lot of hate going around, and I absolutely am not a fan of that. If this song isn't for you, it's okay to move along.
Yeah. At the end of the day ends. Is the best way to put it. You
Philosopher
know,
Steven over here.
yeah. And you know,
That's like a Bob's Burger poster, like
yeah. Today is tomorrow's
motivational.
yesterday. And at the end of the
At the
day,
end
the
of the
day
day,
ends. The day ends. And at the end of the Eurovision Song Contest, cycle, we will find ourselves on to the next Eurovision Song Contest year. And so, to what you're saying, it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It's not going to be everybody's song to catch on to. I think that part of it will also, you know, be faced with host country backlash. So, yes, I think that there could be some potential love from, juries and things like that. I will hate to see if they get like the goose egg like Zoe May got from the public last year when it's like Zoe May hit top 10 as a host country in 2025, which is pretty amazing. And then came the public vote, and it was like Switzerland, you received 0 points. And I'm curious if that's what's going to happen here because, you have a song that's fun and playful and enjoyable for the most part, and then it's going to be like Austria from the public, you've received 0 points just for the sheer fact of like people are just not like behind it for some unforeknown reason other than the fact that it's like it's okay that you don't like get fully behind it, but you don't have to like bash it or hate it.
right? I guess for me, I just don't understand the love for one. That's these two songs are like Ferto and Tanstein. I would put them in the same category as far as
Mm-hmm.
like that. So Eurovision, and so it's very surprising to see one be miles ahead of the other in terms of the fandom so far.
Especially because
I
they're both fun and playful. Like I love
They're
both of
both fun
them.
and playful. They're both in a different language. Like we're not talking English here. So you can look at Cosmo and say he's giving us like some German, which we haven't seen a lot on the Eurovision stage in recent years. So why are we not, propping him up and supporting him? Everyone's just saying, "Oh, host country 0 points," blah blah blah, and it's like, calm down.
Yeah.
There's also only 14 songs out. Calm,
Again,
calm down.
at the end of the day, the day ends. Um,
At the end of the day, the day ends.
Remember that. Today is tomorrow's yesterday. Also that.
But
Like,
before the day ends and the sun sets on the Eurovision season, we are going to be dancing our asses off at the Euro Club and doing the Tanzstein dance.
exactly. My biggest congratulations to Cosmo at the age of 19, being the youngest of the 12 performing acts of this group to, not only perform for Vienna Calling, but also to have won and is now going to represent host country this year. Way to go. Super proud of you. Congratulations. Know that you've got some support and you've got some love from the other side of the globe over here. And we're really looking forward to jamming out to you over in Vienna this coming
Absolutely.
May. And I think with that, like, let's take a quick gander at what's going on over in Sweden in the world of Melodifestivalen. We had semifinal 4 and some shakeups and some WTFs, and that's going to sort of carry over to semifinal 5, which also has the final wild card picks as well. So what happened, Doug? Because you have some feelings.
I do have some feelings. I will also say that, my goodness, I love you, Sweden, but it is exhausting every single week. I mean, this is week 4, and then there's still 2 more weeks of this. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot to go through this with Sweden every single week. Where like Friday comes and I'm waiting for them to release the song, and then I only have like 24 hours to decide, is this a good song I like or not. Like, I don't even have time for Stockholm Syndrome on a song. It's 24 hours. Let's go. Pick
But
your
what
song.
we
Move along.
but like, and for those who are like fairly new to like the world of Eurovision, or even just like new to our content, what you have to understand about Sweden is like they don't fuck around with Eurovision. There's a reason
No.
why they are one of the top countries that are repeat winners. Is like they treat this like the Olympics, kind of. They have a lot of submissions. They narrow it down sometimes to like 30 plus acts, which is why they break it down to such a long winded process. And they make it challenging, not just for themselves, but for us as listeners and as, fans of not just Melodifestivalen, but fans of Eurovision. So this week was no different
Yeah.
because a returner not only didn't qualify directly, like she has to wait it out a little bit longer. And I know that you feel some sort of way, Doug.
I, okay, so let's just get right into it. For me, my top 3 were Smash Into Pieces, Kimberly, and Mara Omar, but not in that order.
I know.
So I still appreciate the outcome overall, but for me, Mara Omar was a returner. I don't think she got the love that she deserved last year, and so I think that's where my saltiness comes from. So I'm trying to rein it in. I'm trying to be like Kimberly. She got up there, she did her thing, she sang her ass off. Like, it was a fun bop. I thought Kimberly was a girl group at the moment when I saw this first snippet, because there was 3 of them on stage. Turns out Kimberly
Spoiler
is
alert.
not.
Those are just Kimberly's backup. Like Kimberly is
Those
Beyonce.
are just the backups. Yeah, this is Destiny's Child, but we're just straight up calling it what it is. Hey, I'm the singer.
Yes.
So she did a good job. I do not want to take that away from her, and so that is where I appreciated how it shook out. And so Mira Omar is going to the final qualifier. So I'm glad she is still in the contest. It would have been nice to see her. But
Kimberly ate. Like
she did. Absolutely.
She ate that. And there is no taking that away from her. I have no qualms with her advancing to the grand final. Where I do get confused, while it was a good performance, was Smash Into Pieces and their song Hollow. I enjoyed it, but I don't
Choose your words carefully.
To me, I just thought that Mira Omar deserved a top 2 spot. And so, like, if I were to swap those two out, that's where I would have gone. But the public felt otherwise. So
maybe I'm just trying too hard to make fetch happen because I need a good rock song at Eurovision, and every time I'm like, ooh, this could be it, this could be it, and every time these national finalists are going, no, that's not what we're doing. So for me, Smash Into Pieces could be that rock song. It was giving a little bit of Linkin Park, kind of a Creed vibe in some aspects, and so I'm appreciative of them advancing. I do also want to just shout them out because they've been trying for Sweden for several years now, and unfortunately, one of their best years was back in 2023. But you're not going to beat Loreen.
no.
So, they actually ended up, I believe, in third place overall.
Oh.
So that year in 2023 was kind of a stacked year because Loreen won, Marcus and Martinez got second, and then Smash Into Pieces got third. Like that's a tough group. So I am glad to see them back. Do I think this song is as strong as some of their previous entries? Unfortunately, I'm going to have to say no.
Again,
but I'm happy that they advanced.
My bias goggles are still very much like on and very tight, and I think that we're still looking at 18s or Grazula going as this year's representatives. That's just where my headspace is at right now, and I don't know if my goggles can be taken off at this point.
Well, my goggles are not the same as your goggles, clearly, because based on what I have heard thus far, I would actually lean towards Felicia.
Felicia being that
Felicia, is that how we say it?
I that's how I've heard them say it every time they like introduce her name. So I'm going Swiss. I'm not going Swiss. I'm going Swedish. Sorry, world. But
I just think she's got a great sound. It's giving the techno dance beat that we all crave.
I love that song just as much as well. But like I said, the bias goggles are on so hard right now that it's just so hard to take them off right now. But do know that if she did win, we gonna rally. We're gonna rally, and we are going to like be on the dance floor. And my system is going to be like locked in. So don't you worry.
I mean, Sweden keeps giving us these great songs. I will say the heats have been predictable.
I keep feeling like
I just feel
declining.
For me, it feels predictable in that there are 3 songs that are not going to place, and there are 3 songs that are taking the top 3 spots. That order of the top 3 spots has been rearranged from what I thought, but the top 3 songs are consistently the same ones that everybody online says it. I'm thinking it. We're all on the same page, except for the 75-year-old plus crowd who decided to vote for Erica Johnson, whatever that was. That's fine.
Hey,
but the rest of us all seem to be on the same page that these are our top 3. Let's figure out the order.
I'm not even going to go there. It's fine. It was a good song in that it fit that group's kind of, vibe, period.
If that's your target audience, knock yourself out. I'm on board.
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, the day ends, and we are moving forward to the final semifinal heat, which will close out a couple of things. We will have end results for the grand final lineup. Those that are part of like the last chance will know their fate. There's a couple of folks that are in there that we're hoping will pull out in the best way possible. And the following weekend will be the grand final for Melodifestivalen. And for the most part, I think they will have a very stacked and a very good lineup.
Yeah,
One that I
we're
think many people should be watching for sure.
yeah. So right now we have 8 songs that have already advanced to the final. 2 more are coming from Heat 5, which is next week. And then the final 2 are going to come from those third place entries.
Yes.
So in that final qualifier, it says 5 acts will compete in the final qualifier. The song with the highest vote share in its heat qualifies directly for the final. Now, my interpretation of that is the highest vote share. So just highest vote total, public vote total. So if that is correct and we just go for raw vote numbers, thus far the highest one would be Robin, Bingston, and Honey Honey.
Okay. I mean, I'm ready for another
That
Magic Mike encore. Like, let's go.
so that is the one with the highest vote share thus far, and then the final one is a public vote of the 4 remaining acts. So
So they
obviously
would
we have
make
to
them
figure
like
out.
revote. Would they
Yeah,
make them revote
obviously
or?
we have to figure out who is going to be the last person to join this list based
Mhm.
on Heat 5. But then, yeah, the public can vote on the 4 other acts. So, are they going to get to perform again? I hope so.
I would love to see another performance. So, let
Yeah,
what better way to find a method to draw out the length of a song contest than to make them perform again?
again. Let's keep it
Again,
going.
yes.
So, next week is both Heat 5 and the final qualifier. And then on March 7th is the actual finals. So, this is the 6 week ordeal. And if you are still tracking this, like, good for you. It's a lot to take in.
Yes. Another song contest, which we've already talked about, but just as a reminder for folks that are listening, that's coming up next week on the 28th of February, is Finland's UMK. This is one that Doug and I are very locked in on. We've been looking forward to this one for several weeks now, so we will be recapping that one in next week's episode alongside semifinal 5 of Melodifestivalen over in Sweden. So you have that to look forward to in our upcoming episode. But I think that's going to do it for this week. Any last thoughts as we close out this week's episode, Doug?
Stick with us. We want to know your thoughts and how you feel about these songs. Did the outcome go as you planned? Are you excited to see what's to come? Tell us everything.
Yes. If you are catching this on YouTube or on our Spotify channel, drop those thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you, as always, for sticking with us and tuning into our weekly episodes. Be sure to give us a like or follow or subscribe, whichever platform it is that you are catching this. We're really appreciative of everybody that's been following along on our journey. We're a slow growing platform and we're a slow growing channel, but we do appreciate everybody that does listen. So thank you so much. If you also want to catch bonus content, we do also post on our Instagram and on our TikTok pages. You can just find us at Eurovision Kiki. That's our handle. Otherwise, that'll do it for this week. Thanks again, and we hope to see you all at our next Kiki.
Bye.
Bye.